Everyone recognises Kermit the Frog and his co-stars in the iconic Muppets, but who would recognise the people behind the puppets?
It's time to get things started on
The most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational. This is what we call the Muppet Show!
The Muppet Show began in 1976 and has since spawned 8 feature films, with the characters also appearing in over 20 TV shows. And to think, this all came from a small town in Hertfordshire, pioneered by one man, Jim Henson.
One of the great things about Jim was he loved his work. He just loved it. So it was like a kid in a toy shop. I don't think he could ever quite believe how lucky he was to be doing what he loved. And he would work harder than anybody else on the set. His puppets would always be the heaviest puppets. He would have his arm up in the air for longer than anybody else. So you could never complain, because Jim was leading from the front and working harder than anybody. But he was so lovely. He carried it so lightly and joyously, and we laughed so much. There was so much laughter on the set. It was just joyous.
Jim was pretty amazing. He was a pretty amazing guy, I think, as I said, with Jocelyn and Louise here, who, all of us privileged, and of course Barry worked with him. He was, I don't keep saying it because it sounds boring, but he was a genuine one-off. He was an extraordinarily creative guy who was very humble in who he was, and he treated everybody the same. He had this amazing ability that whether you were the guy sweeping the studio floor or the senior executive, he treated everybody the same. It didn't matter to him.
On October 16, 2015, in Borehamwood, Hertfordshire, Louise Gold, female Muppeteer, Martin Baker, producer and floor manager of the show, Paul Welsh, chairman of Elstree Screen Heritage, and Jocelyn Stevenson, creator of Fraggle Rock, gathered to unveil a plaque in honour of Jim Henson, commemorating Elstree Studios on their time hosting The Muppet Show from 1976 to 1981.
Jim loved working with the British crews. He just loved it.
Borehamwood, as Martin said earlier, has the finest talent.
Absolutely.
And 100 years of film and television production. Only Hollywood can outbeat us.
Count 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I love it, especially here where he spent so much time, and the Muppets spend so much time here. I mean, I did Fraggle Rock we did in Canada, and so I wasn't here. Well, we did Muppet Top Shop here actually in a studio called Millennium Studios, which was rad. I don't even know if they're still here, but Elstree, Borehamwood, Elstree always meant a ton to Jim. So this was just great that this happened.
In 1996, the British Film Institute decided that they wanted to celebrate the 100 years of cinema in the UK, and they were going to put 200 plaques up at important film sites, and we got 20 of them, 10% of the whole UK's plaque on. But we had top stars, Oscar-winning stars, would come along and unveil plaques for us free of charge because of their belief in the legacy of Elstree. It meant something to them. So now we're on our 25th or 26th, whatever I said earlier, plaque 19 years later. And we're still doing it, and we've got more plaques to unveil, and we'll carry on doing it.
The success of the Muppets has allowed them to entertain generations of fans, from those who grew up with the classic show to those who are only now getting started.
Curtains open.
I'm Richard Bennett. I live in Southend, and I've come up here because I'm a massive fan of the Muppets. It's so nice to know that these guys that bring such well-known, lovely characters to life are as lovely as they are.
I have some really great news. ABC wants to put on
In the time since our interviews, Disney and ABC have ordered an
Muppets.
extended series of their new Muppets TV show, which has been released to critical acclaim years later, and the characters are still inspiring audiences around the globe.
Phenomena. Phenomena. Phenomena.